And of course, now that I hit the record button, we'll probably have a few more people joining us in from the waiting room in the next minute or two. But I'm super happy to be here, you guys. Speak of the devil. Let's let a few more people in here. Super happy to be here with this topic because it is one of my favorites. And I'm going to share why and get you guys all fired up about this. And then just know that all that fired up inspiration does you no good unless you take action after tonight, okay? So you have me if you need me. And as you get going, just reach out if you have questions. You need that next little nudge. Welcome, Scott. And hey, Judy. And also thanking all of the people who will be watching the replay. So thanks for coming back on and clicking and watching this whenever you have gotten the chance. So good evening, everyone. I am Laura Defranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we publish world-changing books and help you share your brave words, and specifically tonight in the form of blogs. But I was just commenting on something in the chat that Joy wrote, that this information helps all of your writing for your business. So including your email newsletters and your social posts, any of your copywriting. So it will help all of that. And that's pretty cool. So I told you that I am super, super passionate about blogging. I started blogging for my physical therapy business, starting back in 2008, to educate my clients really about all of the cool topics of health and healing, all of the things I was interested in, and helping them prevent injuries and get better from the ones that they had and decrease pain and all of that kind of thing. And that evolved to blogs that have been featured in sites like Mind Body Green, The Elephant Journal, Entrepreneur.com, and actually many others. So I won't bore you with the list, but it's a pretty fun list. And I'm also a certified content marketer with Smart Blogger, and have been trained by one of the best bloggers in the world, John Morrow. He is an amazing man with an incredible story. And I've learned a lot of really awesome things from him. I've taken a lot of courses. I've spent $1 or $2 with his company. And I'm back here with my healer posse to pay it forward, to share with you guys some of this stuff that really made a difference for me. So guest blogging specifically has helped me build my email list, land quotes in major magazines, and even land a book deal with an indie publisher. The best thing about blogging, done right, it's going to help you build your business with new clients. And some people ask me, well, can I make money blogging? Well, if you're thinking about it in terms of getting paid to write, sure, there are jobs and you could get paid to write blogs, but what's way more exciting is when you land 5 new clients from that awesome blog you wrote. Okay, then you're getting paid for blogging in a big way, right? So you want to be able to use your blogs to build your business. And I know all of you are interested in doing that. So tonight, I want to share the 5 most important parts of your blog, and how to write a blog that comes alive, gets read by someone else besides your mom or your BFF, and commented on, builds your business. One of these kinds of blogs, right? I'm going to get a call to action tonight out of the way, because I want you guys to know that after tonight, if you are really fired up, I created a course for you, and it's called the Blogging Badassery Training Day. It's actually not a day, but it's a 12 video module course that you can do on your own. And anybody who is purchasing that course from watching this workshop, either tonight or the replay, I'm going to add in a really special bonus invitation to send me one of your blogs for a review. So I will read it, make suggestions by email based on what your goal is, and I will figure out what your goal is and help you craft an outstanding blog with those suggestions. That's going to be limited to the first 10 purchasers of that course, and it'll be limited to 500 to 1,000 word blog. Okay, so no more than 1,000 for that special deal. So for the 97 bucks you're going to spend on the course, not only will that course over deliver, the added bonus will make the whole deal of value easily over $300 or more dollars. So I'm going to put that link in the chat, and I will repeat the link in the chat later. And there it is. So that part is over with. Grab the course later if you are like fired up about what you learned tonight. We're going to 10x it with the course. Let's get started tonight with a gift I have for you, because you guys, I don't know what to write about is the lamest excuse possible for you writers. Okay, so I want to solve that for you right away, like right away tonight. So here is a blog that I actually wrote with 50 ideas of things my healer people can write about. So I'm going to drop that next into the chat. And if you guys click on that, you should pull it up on your computer. If you have any trouble with any of the links I'm dropping tonight, and you replay watchers obviously aren't going to be getting these, so you can always email me and ask for them, okay? And I'll give them to you by email. So that blog was because a lot of people were talking about writer's block, and they didn't know what to write about, and they couldn't come up with content or a content strategy for their business. And so I really tried to help you out there. 50 things to write about means that you'll have an idea a week about for a whole year. Okay, so content delivered. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that list. So let's get into the 5 important parts of a blog. Does anyone have any comments or questions so far? I tend to blast you guys with a lot of things and a lot of ideas. All right, you can always just unmute, okay? And if you guys need an email with any of the things I dropped tonight, do me a huge favor and actually email me the request, okay? So bewarriorlove@gmail.com. I don't want to miss your requests in the chat, so just go ahead and email me for anything I mentioned that you can't get out of my chat here. So the most important part of the blog, I think, out of the list of 5 is the headline. If you guys get good at writing headlines, you will get good at building your business, because people will actually click on them and read what you have to say, read what you have to write and share. Headline writing is an art, and it takes a little practice. But the biggest thing I want to share about your headlines for your blogs, and by the way, this could mean your email subject lines, that's a headline. And it could mean a little headline on a social post even. Have you even thought about using a headline on your social post, right? Just to hook people in and tell them what this is going to be about. Email newsletters, same thing, but the email subject line is the big one there. And here's the tip: be clear, not clever. So y'all want to be fancy and clever and funny in your headlines, and what happens is you confuse people, and they really don't know if what you have written is something that they truly need. So they scroll on by because we're all busy and we want to read stuff that we know we want to read. So the thing that you do beyond being a little too clever is you're trying to sell your how, your magical how of your practice, your modality, whatever it is you do. And you try to put that in the headline instead of what the ideal reader, just what they want. So marketing in these headlines, or headlines are all about marketing, and it has to be clear instead of clever. It has to be takeaway and results oriented. And it just seems so boring sometimes. But would you rather have a headline that works or not? Okay. So test them out. And you may even put a blog up with a particular headline and then change the headline and see how many more clicks you get the other time, right? Do some experiments. It's kind of interesting. When I was creating the title for one of my books, and of course, book titles are the same kind of headline, the same kind of marketing. I could have gotten all kinds of fancy about the holistic tools and things we were putting into this book. But I was taking a blogging course from the Smart Blogger guy, and he was talking about writing an ultimate guide post, a blog. And I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to put out the ultimate guide to anything in terms of a blog, then why can't that be a good book title? And so some of you know that the ultimate guide to self-healing is the book title that I used. So it's the same idea. Like, do you just want any guide to self-healing? No, you want the ultimate guide, right? You want the takeaway. You want the resource. So when you're writing your blogs, what is it for that person? What are they looking for? What's that result? What's that takeaway? Okay, you could put it in your titles. And I'm going to do something fun with you guys in a few minutes. I'll take a couple volunteers and we'll talk you guys through partially your business, partially your ideal client, but then some possible headlines and things and blog topics for you. So you can be thinking about that a little bit. The second most important part is the hook. It's the first paragraph of your blog. It's the first sentence, really. So if you can hook them in, then good on you, because they're going to keep reading down the page. So one of the mistakes I see in the blogs is you're setting us up for the hook, and the hook comes 4 paragraphs later. Please don't do that. Get that secret up in the first sentence. Get that amazing statistic up in the first sentence. That blow your mind thing that you want to tell everybody. Go ahead and give it up in the first paragraph. And people are making their readers wait 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, and they don't have the attention span. But if you can hook them in right away, some people will ask me, well, if you give it up in the first paragraph, are they going to continue reading? Yeah, they're going to especially continue reading, because now they want to know the details of that, whatever that is you laid on them in the first paragraph. So don't hold back. Put it all up there in the first sentence or two. Any questions about headline or hook? I'll slow down a little bit and let you guys ask if you have them. Please feel free to unmute and just ask me. No questions so far? Okay. The third most important part of this blog is the body of the blog, and there's a few things here. The first thing is making it really easy on my eyes. So bold subheadings are one way to do that. Guiding your reader down the page with some bold headings so they know what's coming, but spaces in between. So one of the bigger mistakes people are making in their blogging is to have a huge paragraph of text with no spaces. And it sounds so simple, doesn't it? But I had submitted a pitch idea to a blog called Tiny Buddha once upon a time. And I was in chats with her back and forth on email. She liked my idea, and she was going to then give me some ideas about writing it and some submission guidelines. And one of the things early on that blew me away by one of her comments was, it said, no more than 3 sentences per paragraph. And I was like, whoa, really? And that's for the reason I'm telling you. It's way easier to read your blog, and my eyes will move down the page, and I'll keep scrolling and reading if you give my eyes a space. So bold subheadings, spaces, shorter paragraphs, lots of spaces. There's something too about the fonts I'm seeing on people's blogs. Think about that a little bit. Who's your ideal client? We're going to spend some time tonight talking about this, but specifically, do they wear glasses? Specifically, are those tiny fonts and those faint colors of fonts really messing with them? And I remember getting an email one time where the person was emailing with a very light, not black, it was like a very light blue or something. And I literally couldn't read it. So how would you feel if an important email was just literally deleted because you couldn't read it, right? And I would be squinting at it. I would be putting on my glasses and still having trouble. So make sure the basics are covered. Bold, good fonts, easy to read, big enough font for people to read, and think about your ideal client. So if you have a younger ideal client, maybe this isn't as big of a deal, but if you have an older one, it might be. So it's good to think about that. So the body of that blog is going to be that way throughout the blog. And one thing, a little tip I'm going to share with you, that this is an SEO tip that I'm actually going to share more about in that course. But if you've got visuals every 200 to 300 words, that's another really cool tip. And it's actually a professional tip and an SEO tip. And I share a lot of different kinds of SEO tricks and pro tips in the course. So I want you to know that there's a lot of information. And if I tried to give it all to you guys in this one little workshop tonight, you'd be like, oh my gosh, how can I do all of this, right? But a visual, a photo, an infographic, a little video, something to again, it's spacing up the text, breaking up the text. And people will move down the page a lot nicer, a lot easier. Okay, so we're on to the fourth most important piece. So far we have headline, the hook, the body, and the fourth is your first out of 2 call to actions. So 4 and 5, the parts of the blog, important parts, are both call to actions. The first is a call to action in the blog that asks the reader to engage, to do something. And most of the time you'd like them to comment. It would be really, really great if you could get them to do something there on that blog, like make a comment. So a lot of the times it depends on the subject, but you can ask your reader to add their 2 cents. Hey, everybody, this blog about 50 things you should write about if you're a healer. What other ideas do you have? Give me the 51 and 2 in the comments. And so I'm asking my, skilled readers to join in the collaboration in my blog and give their 2 cents as well. And that, by the way, is a pro tip for you bloggers. Be the commenter on other people's blogs with your awesome 2 cents. Because when people read the comments, and let's say there's this beautiful blog about Reiki, and Scott comes along and reads the blog and enters his comment about, he's a master Reiki practitioner, and there was a call to action about something, some question that he could really answer. Yeah, he should answer that question, because all of the other readers who are reading that blog might be like, ooh, Scott, I need to know Scott. And they'll click on his profile and go over to where he is and learn about him, right? So that's one of the best tips as a blogger, is to be an awesome commenter on other blogs. All right. Call to action to engage. That's the number 4. And the number 5 is another kind of call to action, and it's in your bio. So depending on the blog, whether you're blogging on your own site or if you're guest blogging, there's different ways that your bio is going to be presented. A short, sweet, powerful bio at the end with a call to action for the reader to come into the next step with you is really, really important. If they've loved your message and they're getting some practical experience and tips from that blog, loving it, they get to the end, you finish out your blog and there's nothing for them to do next. Bad on you, you guys. Give them something to do. So what do you got? Like maybe you have a course that relates to the blog material. Maybe you have a free Facebook group that relates to the conversation that you're having. Give them a call to action in your bio that takes them directly to where you'd like to see them next, right? And I think sometimes we slack on the calls to action. Either we're still stuck in, oh, I don't want to be too salesy here, or do this or do that. If you don't have at least one powerful call to action in your bio, you are missing out on some opportunities to change lives. Okay, that's how I look at it these days. Okay, so we just went over the 5 most important parts of that blog: your headline, your hook, the body in terms of readability, call to action number 1 to engage that reader to comment, and call to action number 2 is really the bio call to action. It might be your website. It could be a link to something else. Questions, you guys?
Laura, I had a quick question.
Yeah, shoot.
I was thinking if you're, is it a good idea or not? I guess I just want your opinion. If you have a blog and then you just do an audio file where you're reading your blog and insert it in there in case people can't read it, but they're like, on the train or they're going to work or something like that. Would that be something you think would be a good idea to include?
Why not? Sure. It's going to be extra work for you, obviously, but that could be incredible for somebody who just needs to listen. Definitely. And one of the other things you'll do, this is a little bit of a side note, but you made me think of it, is when you're adding your visuals throughout the blog, there's this again is an SEO tip, you guys. There's something called alt text, ALTTEXT, alt text. And if you fill in a description of what the picture is, that will be for people who cannot see. And when you're filling in the alt text on your visuals, that helps your SEO. It's more words there describing what's in the blog. So it's just a little tip for you guys. But that's, along the lines of how about include an audio as well? Yeah, awesome. Super awesome. A little more work, but any other questions about the 5 parts? Any question is a good question. Do you guys have other suggestions you want to add to the pot in terms of calls to action that have worked for you? Okay. Well, let's get them working, right? We need to get them working. And really the well-written blog is going to do it. Okay, so I want to spend a nice amount of time on writing for your ideal client. And again, I know we're talking about blogging tonight, but this kind of writing has to do with anything you're writing for your business. And I have another gift for you. And you will have to, hang on a second. Oh, you know what? I might even be able to drop it for you. Give me a momento. I'm going to try to do it. See if I can get fancy tonight and drop it in the chat. But you guys can email me for this if this doesn't work for you, okay? Okay. I'll stick it in here real quick. Okay, it's not working like I thought it would. So what I did for you guys, I thought I was going to be able to pop it in as a file in the chat, but it's not letting me. If anyone knows a trick about that, let me know. Writing for your ideal client. So I took the ideal client questions exercise from a whole book that I co-authored with Donnie Bovine. This is your high vibe business workbook. And what I did is I took the ideal client exercise chapter and I created a PDF for you guys. And so that you can get started on some of the most important work you'll ever do for your business. And that is getting to know who your ideal readers and clients are. So sorry I couldn't drop it, but please email me at bewarriorlove@gmail.com with the subject line, ideal client worksheet. And I will pass that PDF over to you. It's 25 questions that you'll want to answer about your ideal client. And it's got a little bit of homework on there that I'll let you guys read and have fun with. Excuse me. If you guys would like to pick up the entire workbook, there are 16 practical exercises for business building in this workbook. And I love this book that Donnie and I created. So it's big, it's like a notebook size book. And that's because every single chapter we're having you write and create and do stuff. So there's the Amazon link if you guys want to pick that whole book up. So we make the writing come alive for the reader by getting inside their head and truly understanding what their deepest desires are. So there are a few questions I'll ask you now, and you can write these few questions down, but the 25 questions worksheet's going to take that another level, okay? So what does this reader of yours want to feel? Type in a word in the comments for me in the chat and tell me how you think your ideal client and reader wants to feel. Give me some ideas. Give me some good words. I know one of my favorites is inspired. Healthy, good one. Joy read my mind. Connection, empowered, yes. Excited, yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. Changed, that's interesting. Yeah. Confident, love it. Healed. When somebody feels healed, Atlantis, describe what that feeling is. This is an interesting question. You don't, I mean, if you want to take it on right now, you can, but you don't have to.
Oh yeah. So when I say healed, I mean that they feel like what they're reading resonates with them because they've had a similar experience, and it helps get them into the whatever problem, challenge, or medical question that they're asking. And instead of feeling like they're alone, they all of a sudden feel like, oh, someone else has already felt the same way. And in that sense, now they're connected, and that's part of the healing. And then it steps from healing into wholeness, because now they're less afraid to walk on the path of how do I fix that thing which somebody else has already fixed for themselves.
And did you guys listen to that long ass answer she just had to give to describe what that feeling is, right? It's not always easy to describe that, but I'm going to add acknowledged and validated and also connected. Those three things. Seen, heard, okay? Informed, yes, Judy. Empowered to change, yes, yes, yes. All the good yeses, okay? So awesome. If you know how they want to feel, and have you ever actually asked your current ideal clients that question? How do you want to feel? I think sometimes we love to guess. And it's really, really great to ask and see what their actual words are. And just be curious about how they answer that question. So the part B to that first question, how do they want to feel, is to you, the writer of the blog. So to you, writer, what are you feeling when you sit down to write? Have you taken a moment to ground and center yourself and take the breaths and really get into that empowered feeling, that healed feeling, that connected feeling, that alive and joyful and inspired feeling? And it's one of the biggest things that's going to change your writing game, is to actually just take the time to conjure it up in yourselves before you actually sit down and craft this thing in words. And asking the question, how do they want to feel, is a really good one, right? You have to know, so that then you can think about it, just, breathe it into you, and then get the words out of you. 2 more questions. Big ones. What's that ideal reader's biggest problem right now? And again, I'm just going to repeat myself. If you don't know the answer to that, or you think you're guessing, it would be really, really, really great to ask them that question. And then the opposite of that kind of is the other third question. And that's, what's the thing that they want most right now? Deepest desire. If you could wave the magic wand and solve that problem, what would it be? And typically you'll have content for your blogs that can go a long ways if you just get the answer to those 3 things I just asked. What did you miss, Kate? You can unmute if you want to just ask. Yeah, it's a good point, Mary. Sometimes they're so lost they don't know. And that is the feeling.
Okay, I'm sorry. So,
Yeah.
so what I missed was, okay, so we had, how do you want your reader to feel? And then how do I want to feel having written this? Is that the second one?
Well,
and then whatever the third one was, because I was writing. So
got you. I'll slow down a little bit. So there were 3 big questions. The first one is, how do they want to feel? But there was like a part B to that. And the part B is my question to you, the writer. Are you feeling that thing that you want them to feel, that they want to feel as you write? And we're talking about the positive feeling here. The goal of the blog is to get them to the end and have them feeling all these beautiful things, like empowered and inspired and informed and joyful. So it was like a part B to the first question. And then the other 2 questions were, what's their biggest problem right now? And what's the thing they want the most in their life right now? Or another way to say that is, what's their deepest desire? Okay.
thank you.
Scott.
So when I'm looking and hearing this is much like when I do my practice, I'm asking those same questions. So what you're saying really is to take your practice and kind of put it into play and take a particular problem, a particular subject, and kind of when you're writing about it, go through your practice of how you solve those problems, how you deal, how you heal them, how you empower them, all those things that you're doing. So it's putting into words and practicality and concisely what you're doing and how you're going to help them, and kind of displaying what you're doing in your professional life.
Yeah, it can be all of that. And I'll give you an example of a way that I love to open up blogs with dialogue. If you, and you would be making this up a little bit. So you've got a creative license to create dialogue in a pretend situation that's very much like a client situation. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the thing that Mary typed in the chat, where sometimes she said, sometimes they're so lost they don't know. You'll ask them questions and they'll be like, I don't know. They're desperate. They're at that rock bottom place and they say to you, I don't know. So that could even be the opener, the hook paragraph is a couple lines of dialogue with the client expressing that exact pain point. And that is a very, very powerful thing, because for your ideal readers, it's what's in their head. And you've put it on paper in quotes as something a client or somebody is saying out loud to you. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's me, right? And they want to keep reading because now they know you know them. And hopefully you're going to solve their problem, right? So hopefully you're going to take them on a little journey. And of course you want to be in their head like that. And you also, all of you, already do this to a certain point, but Scott, please don't tell me what to do in the blog before you be vulnerable and let me get to know you and your story a little too. So like, who are you, master healer, teacher, person, to tell me what to do with myself if I have no idea who you are? And you guys have heard me talk about this in the book projects too, because it's the same kind of writing, So what are you going to offer about yourself and your journey for that little trust factor to happen early on in your blog? And now I'm going into it a little bit more than I expected to tonight, but that piece is really important to me, to be able to allow you guys to understand me at that other level, right? And you might offer a little dialogue in your own world, and you might move into the problem with the client and how you're solving it. Oh my gosh, there's so many different ways to do these. Great points and great questions, you guys. Any other questions about those 3 questions? Any questions about the questions? You good? Okay. So I have done this particular workshop a little bit differently in the past, but tonight I wanted to really hash this out with a couple of you so that we could all listen to the process and get into that space where we really understand what we want to write about next. I'd love for you guys to be excited tonight, so excited that you're like, ooh, I know the blog I want to start, and this is what it's going to be. And, you start writing it. Think about your ideal client in terms of length of blog. That's sometimes a question I get asked. How long should my blogs be? Well, ask, do they read a 500-word blog, or are they more intense blog readers? Will they get into 1,000 words or 1,500 words? An ultimate guidepost can be 4,000 or 5,000 words. That's for somebody who's learning, who's into being educated through that reading. What are your ideal clients already reading? And you may not know the answer to that. So it might just be that you take them for a little interview and start asking them some of these questions. One of my ideal gals, Shirley, is a mother of 5. Do you think she reads a 5,000-word blog? No way, right? Yeah, she needs the 200-word blog. Like, she needs the little Twitter version of the blogs, right? She needs a nugget. She needs something to take in her day that is very easy to consume. Who is your reader? You have to know your reader so that you can create what they need. So, who wants a hot seat? Hand up, first hand ups. I got Scott, and I'll take another one tonight. Who's going to be the second hand up tonight? And Mary, awesome, brave souls. Okay, Scott, tell me about your ideal reader. Now, as Scott talks about this person, think about what we talk about together and make some notes about your own as we go through this, right? Because this is going to help everybody. So thank you, Scott.
Thank you. I'm very, very new to blogging. Just set up through Tara, my website. I wrote a blog so that she would have it. She made it look absolutely stunning.
Good.
Better than I ever thought it could look.
Beautiful.
So yes, I am a virgin when it comes to the blogging.
Okay, so tell me about your ideal client. That I know you're not a virgin in. So who is this person? Are they a man or a woman?
Majority of my clients are women.
Okay.
In doing the book project, Men for Men, and I am more exposed to male clients now, and it's morphing a bit
Okay.
in the relation.
Okay, go short answer on me tonight with this.
Sorry.
Let's move through
go
it.
straight.
So
Okay.
I know you serve both, and it's okay for tonight for you guys to just really unapologetically pick one, because
Okay.
the one of the biggest problems y'all have is you're trying to talk to everyone, which means you're talking to nobody.
To no one, right?
And you will speak to a man and a woman differently. You will use different words, you'll use different phrases, you will, and when I say speak, just know I'm also saying write. You will
Yeah.
write and speak to people differently depending on who they are and all that good stuff. So how what's the age range?
Okay, female, 25 to 60, 65.
That's a wide range.
It is a wide range, and I've had clients in between.
Are they working?
I'm sorry?
Are they working?
Retired and currently working, yes.
So you're gonna have a 25-year-old retired, huh? I'm gonna totally
No, a 60,
give you a hard
obviously it's a
time.
65.
I wish, right?
I wish at 25 we could be retired, yes.
Okay, so did you guys just hear though, the question I asked him and the problem that we just had? Because this is what you guys are all doing. You're saying 25 to 65. And then when I asked the work question, there's no way. So what if you could stay, this is for everybody.
Yep.
What if you could just stay in a more narrow lane for sake of writing a couple blogs this week and doing an experiment for me? And what would the narrow lane be, right? So do you want the retired person, Scott, tonight, or do you want the 25-year-old just starting their career?
45 to 65.
45 to 65. Okay, much better, much better. So
Long walks on the beach. Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, all of that, what everybody does, right?
Okay, and
So,
are you going to stick with retired?
Working.
Okay, change your tune.
Working.
For somebody
children.
or themselves?
They're working for somebody.
So they have a boss.
Yep, they have bosses.
Okay, married, divorced, single?
Married.
Second marriage, third marriage?
Wow, you really want, so you want to get very specific with this, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Married or committed, how's that?
Great. And for all of you, if you're thinking of a particular person you serve right now, that's the easiest way to answer all these questions. I want you to have a face and a name in mind. And if you do have a face and a name in mind, you're going to be writing your blogs like a love letter to this person. And you will stop writing for everybody because you'll have your person in mind. So what's her first name, Scott?
Roberta.
Cool. So is Roberta a real person?
Yes.
Okay, good. Even better. Okay, cool. So tell me, what do you know about Roberta's biggest problem?
Childhood trauma. And
how's playing out in her current palpable life as a problem? What's happening?
Triggers from childhood trauma.
Give me so how is it affecting her life currently? Is it in a relationship she gets triggered and then she has a blow up with her boyfriend?
With her husband. It blows up. He doesn't understand it. She reacts and it's a blow up.
Okay, so I want to just pause there for everybody because we went from her biggest problem is childhood trauma to actually know her biggest problem right now is a miserable marriage. Do you guys see what happened just there? This is huge because the way Scott writes this blog needs to speak to the current worst problem they're having, that if Scott could solve it, which is his how, which is how he deals with somebody's whole mind, body, soul, and all of their past traumas. I know the how, Scott. Okay, but if you can't get to that problem and really speak to solving the thing that they're actually experiencing, that's, how it's playing out, then that's our goal here. So what else do you want to tell me about that?
Relationship with children.
What about it?
What do I want to say? Boundaries with children, they take up much more of her time than she's really wants to give.
And it's resulting in her what?
Getting resentful
Okay.
of them.
So anger outbursts possibly, or is she actually manifesting physical symptoms?
She's manifesting physical symptoms because of the anger and anxiety.
Yeah, okay. So this line of questioning is, I'm trying to have Scott go just a bit deeper to the actual things that are happening on a day-to-day basis. He has an idea from being with the person, what has been going on and the things behind the pain and the healing journey that, they're taking together and that he's guiding. But if in terms of writing a blog or a social post or an email newsletter, and I want him to be writing to Roberta without using her name.
Right.
I want him to be writing things like, Roberta, I know your marriage is failing. And I want you to know I see you, and it's possible that we can heal that. We can make it better, right? Like I want you guys to think about the person being in the room with you as you write your blogs. I want you to think about how you'd actually talk with them and really convey that you've been listening. But of course, it's not a conversation back and forth. It's a one-way conversation on a blog. So you have to think about that a little bit. Now, can you put a conversation in a blog between two people? Yeah, use dialogue. Really, really cool. You can almost make it case study, like the two of you were in a treatment room. So of course, names are changed, situations are slightly changed. I turn my actual clients, women into men for blogs. I just change it up. Right. So that I can feel good about what I'm doing there, so that I'm not, calling anyone out. What else about that, Scott? And what would be the thing that you'd want to write about that would help her down the journey?
For the immediacy of it is how to not get angry or get triggered by her husband, who is very well-meaning. So,
okay, so Scott's blog title, Another Way to Deal with Your Anger. See how easy that was? I'm giving you guys a hard time. I mean, I can hear them. So and I love asking the questions, because I mean, if I was a person dealing with anger every day and constantly getting triggered, and these arguments were going on with my husband, and that was how I was living my life, and I read a headline, a better way to deal with your anger, or another way to do, I was like, oh, he's talking to me. That's what you want them to say in their head when they read your blog title.
Nice.
So then you can play with that a little bit, right? So I know that a piece of what you all do is help your clients with a level of awareness that allows them to have a choice about what is happening in their life, right? So you've heard me do the quote, with awareness, we get the choices. So you all are master teachers of different kinds of awareness and tools and all of these things. So how can you give them the gift of awareness in your blog? Right? And so being in their head about what their biggest problem is a big in. So Scott, I could turn it around and I could say, what is her deepest desire?
Her deepest desire is to have a full functioning, loving relationship without the drama that ensues.
What does full functioning, loving relationship mean to Roberta tangibly?
Open communication.
What does open communication mean to Roberta in her living room with her husband? So these are the questions, you guys. Go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. What so go into, like, she's in her living room or in her bedroom. Maybe she hasn't had sex with her husband in 3 years. And open communication means one thing to Roberta. And you're just guessing, right? So a lot of the times you're guessing, but I think that you guys could make better guesses if you just hone right in to what that actually means. So do you have an answer or not?
Well, that comes to the intimacy issue of where the open communication comes from and to.
There you go. So now you are getting to it. But before you were too far out and too vague. So now you're coming in and you're like hitting it on the head and she's nodding at your paragraphs going, oh my gosh, he's in my head. How's he in my head again? Right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
So, and it's the more personal, the more universal, you guys, the more personal. So stop talking about great communication in these blogs. Go right into, if you haven't had sex with your husband in 3 years, there is something wrong. Let's fix that communication. Because the great communication line is like you're talking to the whole world. Everybody needs better communication. Doesn't matter who you're talking about. But for a husband and wife who are having trouble and the wife has got triggering anger issues, oh my gosh, there's so much more specific things you guys should be talking about.
So it's the platitudes that we talk in general. They hear it from so many different places that it's that intimacy of communication that we share with our clients that is going to draw them in.
Right? Of course.
Aha.
Except we think we have to be more professional in a blog. We think we have to be a certain way in our writing. We think we have to. You guys fill in the blank. I would love to hear the answers to that. What do you think you have to do in a blog that you do differently when you're really with somebody, really helping somebody and present with them? I mean, I think it's BS. Because we're trying to be this other thing over here so what? So why? But then we lose everybody because it's not personal, it's not specific, it's not really touching the heart and soul of that reader anymore. It's just one more someone trying to tell me what to do to fix my marriage and make my communication better. But no, this is Scott getting in my head and really understanding my problem, right?
Yeah. So we're basically outlining how we work with our clients, or how we think about blogging, working with our clients, and be very, very precise about how you would handle it. And in this way, you're telling them how you're going to deal with them if they're coming to you as a client.
That's one
So
thing.
you're framing it.
That's one thing you can do.
But it's framing the blog in a way so that you're making it personal in that it's from me. this is the way I work. This is a problem that can be solved, and be very, very detailed about that, because it'll strike home with people.
Yeah,
if
I'll
it's
say yes
deep
to
enough.
that for sure.
Okay.
And one other thing there is, don't you guys see now how when you're honing in and getting in that lane of a specific, I'll just say scene that you're laying out in the blog, your content is never ending. You have a million ways to write about all of these different things that are happening in your clients' lives and in your own life. Your content is around you and in your face constantly all day long. You'll never run out of things to write about when you can go ahead and get a little bit more specific. So, I mean, I'm thinking about even just my interactions from the morning. And I spent a couple of minutes sitting outside staring at this beautiful, I'm not sure exactly what kind of tree it is, but it puts out those pink puffy blooms that the hummingbirds love.
Mhm.
And I sat, and all of a sudden the hummingbird couple that evidently lives near my house, they came together and they started to fling around the tree, and what an amazing moment that was. And I sat in the chair and watched that for a few minutes and allowed myself to sort of observe what was happening in my mind about my to-do list for the day, the calls that I had that day, but also in between, back and forth with, oh my gosh, I'm sitting here watching these two beautiful hummingbirds on my tree. Now, me telling you that story, you all know me a little better now. So what pieces are you guys offering like that? Again, gifts of your own awareness. And then how can you bring it into the client's world and make it about them? Because it really ultimately is about them, Okay. But let them get to know you. Then what's in it for them? Get in their head and make them nod and get a little whiplash over that, and bring them down the page to a result, to a teaching, to a takeaway, and then bring them down a little further to a strong call to action after they've loved those words. Okay, that was kind of a quick summary, right, of what you're doing down the page of that blog. So Scott, you good? I wanted to give Mary a chance here too. Okay. Are you guys hearing a funky thing in my audio, or am I okay? Okay, I'm hearing a little static. I just want to make sure you guys weren't hearing that. Jackie, what do you want me to repeat there? That's kind of the summary. Is that what you were talking about?
What you were just saying, Laura, about the gifts of your own awareness, let them get to know you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important.
It is important. And so, I was just offering you a moment from my morning about the hummingbirds, and that allows you to just know me a little bit. So, you now know that I am a lover of nature. I'm a lover of birds. I have a tree with pink flowers in the front of my house. A lot of the times we don't think about very precious but very simple moments or things, or as being that little gift of awareness. They all are. That's why writer's block is BS, because what you should be writing about is everywhere in your normal, regular moments. Let them get to know you a little bit. You be vulnerable. You trailblaze that authenticity, please, before you tell me what to do.
And then just one more thing. You were talking several minutes ago about the alternate text. Does that mean if there's a photo or a video to fill in the description of what people see or what they're going to be watching?
That's exactly right.
Okay. Good, thank you.
On the back end of my WordPress site, there's a line for alt text. And people who do blogs, in the beginning, I had no idea what that was, and I just left it blank all the time. But then when I learned about it, I'm like, oh, I should be filling that in. So, it's an SEO thing. It helps people, helps readers find your blog.
So where should the words alt text appear?
In the
I
back,
really
in the
lost it.
dashboard of your blog site. So this is something that is going to be difficult to describe, and you may need a little, a tech person to help show you where that is. So if you are adding a blog to your site, you all have different kinds of sites, so it's hard for me to answer that question for everybody.
Okay,
But if you have a WordPress site, it's going to be in a particular place when you fill in the words of your blog. It'll be on mine. It's a right-hand menu on my WordPress site. And there's all those little fields I have to fill in before I publish a blog. Does that make
Very good.
sense, Jackie? Okay.
yes, it does. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether you actually write those words in or.
No.
just
You're
put it
writing a
under-
description of what
Right.
someone is seeing in the photo.
Yes. Right,
Yeah, that's what
No,
you're
that-
actually
I get-
writing.
yeah, okay, got it,
And that text is called alt text.
good.
Okay. Okay, Mary, ready to roll with this? So you have learned from Scott now. I'm going to start asking questions and I expect specific answers.
You got it. You got it.
Okay, well, tell me about your ideal reader and client.
So women between the ages of 30 to 50, ones who are awake. They're working.
Okay, wait, stop. So what does awake mean?
Looking inside, wanting more answers than
What are they doing in their day that makes you know they're doing that?
They're asking questions about getting connections to angels or meditation.
Okay,
or-
so they're meditating.
Yes.
There we go. That's the answer, you guys.
Okay.
So her ideal client is a regular meditator. Perfecto. What else?
They want to shift their vibration. In other words, they want to raise our frequency of vibration higher.
Okay, so they understand the topic of vibration. They probably are a law of attraction person.
Yep.
They probably know who Esther Hicks is. They've got, right? So you could go on and a little
Yep.
deeper. And even with meditation, you guys, because all of you have an answer to your person about their practices. So if yoga is a practice or meditation is a practice, you could go even further. Are they a hot yoga person? Are they a yin yoga person? Are they a restorative yoga person? Do they love to go to in-person classes or do they do online yoga? So for meditation, it would be the same line of questions. Why do I need to know all that? Well, if I'm writing a blog and I'm going to use a meditation scene, and I know about what's her name? Mary, what's her actual name, first name?
Oh, this woman, Tressa.
If I know that Tressa has a favorite pair of purple pants that she wears during her meditation session, guess what I'm going to put in my blog?
Purple
Or
pants,
maybe
baby.
maybe she's got a crystal that she sets on her side table, or maybe right? So this is what I was doing with Scott too, is like, be in their head, be in their room, and know these things about them, know the things that they love, and then use the details. Allow me to get into my senses in your blog. Let me feel and see and hear and smell and taste the scene.
Okay.
And you're talking to me when you do that. Your ideal client, Tressa.
Gotcha.
So what else about her?
She's a corporate HR worker, not happy in her job, has not been happy in her job for years, is divorced, wanting a relationship, has had many failed relationships along our working together.
If I was going to say to you, is that the deepest desire? Would you say yes?
I would say yes. Yeah.
So verbalize what the deepest desire is.
I believe that she wants a relationship. I believe that she wants to feel whole again, because I think from losing the relationship years ago, she has just been broken. Her relationship with her family is not good. She's got a son who is 17 and lies to her and she's trying to guide him and he's not going in the direction she wants him to go.
Okay, so stop for a minute, because now you went on to another problem.
She's got multiple problems.
Right. So, and these are all things you can write about, you guys. And people have multiple problems. Definitely, they have multiple problems, you know. So you can make a content list of all of the types of things that you want to write about in a series even. I'm going to go back to Scott's thing for a second, because anger can be such an issue for people. So what if Scott does a 5-part blog series on anger? And blog number 1 is going to introduce this to the blog audience in terms of a foundational way to talk about it and why it's eating you literally up on the insides. And through his 5-part series, so you guys can tease themes out over weeks and get people interested in reading blog 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, because these topics are juicy ass topics that you could write a whole freaking book about, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So why not a multiple part blog series where you're bringing them back, right? And you're teaching some things over a certain amount of time. That is so awesome for your content. And that'll keep your weekly blogging or bi-weekly blogging really going. So for you too, Mary, like if the relationship, let's just go back to that one.
Mm-hmm.
If a primary love relationship, we have to get really specific there, because you were also talking about a child relationship, and that could be a whole
And a
nother
mother
series.
relationship.
Yeah.
So she's got like so many things. It's amazing.
Well, and so if it's all of her relationships, I'm going to ask you about the bigger problem for her. And what is the internal problem? What is the deeper healing layer that's affecting all of her relationships around her?
My belief is that she listens to her head, overanalyzes everything, and is not going to her heart and allowing her heart to carry her
Now
forward.
that's a super awesome blog series as well. So the awareness of thought and inner critic messages and old conditioned habitual messages. I mean, it's one of my favorite topics. I just wrote a whole book about it, you guys. So like the mindset mastery is really, really going to help people. And so, yes, these are gifts you guys are giving in your blogs.
Ooh, awesome.
Yeah.
I used to think blogging was just about me writing about something that I thought of or channeled. So that's what's been on my website. You've lit me up. So this is amazing information. Thank you.
Good. And of course it can be partially that, but the thing about that is you can feel a little all over the place, and you can also feel like your blogs aren't doing anything for you.
And that's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel.
And so put channeled pieces in as special pieces, but really have the structure be bringing people first down the page and then into the bio and then into a call to action. And then all of a sudden you're going to start getting excited about blogging more.
Yeah, that's
because cool. People will land on your Facebook and come into your group, and then they're going to want to know you. And then, you know, so that's the idea here, right?
Yep. I love it.
Yeah. So blog sharing and blog sharing groups and all of the different ways we get more eyes on our blog. You guys, I'm going to go over everything in the course. Okay. And because tonight is a 90-minute workshop, I know that I gave you guys some really good nuggets tonight that you can put into action right away. But I also know that I've spent thousands and hours learning about all of this stuff. And that's why I created the course for you guys. So I'm going to give you a share tip, like how to get more eyes on your blog. But I'm just going to remind you that this course is ready for you. And the bonus you're going to get is me helping you edit one of your blogs to make it super awesome. So that's the link you can click on to find out more about the course. When we share our blogs, There's a couple main places that I share. Facebook is a big one for me because my ideal clients hang out there. So where do your ideal clients hang out? That's where you should be sharing your blogs. If your people are more on LinkedIn, you should be doing blogs on LinkedIn. Okay. I would imagine, like me, most of you guys have Facebook fans, right? And they're there. So you can put your blog links there, but please, pretty please, don't just drop your links. Give me a reason to click on them. So this is the couple sentence post that you're adding to the post where you put your link. So I have a million different blogs I could drop links for you guys. But if I made a post that says, you guys, I just wrote a 5,000 word blog, essentially a personal training to learn more about your ideal client and really build your business with this information. And I have spent a lot of time basically writing you an ultimate guide on this based on everything that I know. And I really hope you enjoy it. You know, grab a bag of chips because this one's going to take you a few minutes to read through. Everything I just said, I'm typing as a note in my Facebook thing, then the link for the blog. So essentially, I told you why you want to save this, or click on it and save it, email it to yourself or whatever. But I see so many people just dropping links everywhere. And like, I don't know, why should I read that, right? So headline, okay, your headline could hook me in. But if there's a personal note, I'm way more likely to click on that in terms of social anyway, right? So that's one way to get more eyes on it. Another way is to develop a share team, even 3 to 4 people who all blog, love blogging, blog on a regular basis, and you guys can comment and share for each other and come up with a strategy there of like how often you're going to do that, or when, or if you have a little group where you're going to drop them. So I try to do that in the Brave Badass Healers group. And now and again, you're going to see a blog post thing for sharing, right? And I want you guys to all drop your blog links in the comments, but add that note, add that little note, right? And when you get people excited about reading it, they're going to be more likely to click. Why should they read? Give me the secret. Do you guys know how sometimes you'll see also that they've taken an excerpt from the blog and they've put it as the post? That's a great way to do it also. Take your hook and plop it up into the description. And then you can say, read more, you know, by clicking down below or whatever, however you do it. And sometimes because Facebook doesn't want you to take people off of Facebook, they don't show your blogs to anybody. So I will experiment sometimes of writing a post and then saying, you can find the blog link in the first comment. And I put the blog down there instead. You know, we think we're going to fool Facebook, but do the experiment, see what works for you. Okay. And then tagging a few people in your share team so that they know it's up. You know, you guys come up with your teams and come up with the ways that you want to help. But another, I told you I'd only give you one, but here's the third way. Another way is to also blog on another site, like Medium is a place where I have a gazillion blogs, like over 300 of them now, medium.com. And you can cross post from Medium to your own blog site. So that's another really great way to get some different eyes on your blogs. And Nancy, if you have more questions about that, go ahead and unmute and just ask.
No, that's great. I already signed up for the course, so I'm sure there'll be lots of goodies in there.
Awesome, thank you. So
Thanks.
if you guys are signing up for that, you're gonna get an email that'll give you access to the videos. And just know that you can email me anytime and you can say, hey, Laura, I want to take you up on that blog edit that you promised. Okay, and I'm going to take your written blog and I'm going to read through it and I'm going to just check it for these different things. And then I'm going to give you some suggestions of where you can make it a little bit more powerful and send those suggestions back to you so that you can make your edits. That's what I would love to do for you guys. It's fun to have people that you can bounce the ideas off of and really make these things shine. And I guess the other thing I want to just encourage you all to do is go pitch the big sites. So pitch the big sites, figure out where your ideal clients are reading, and go read the submissions guidelines and figure it out and get your word and keep trying. Listen, you're going to have rejections, you're going to have crickets. And the more you submit and the more you pitch, you will have a win eventually, and it will be awesome. And that will be just the beginning, right? But I can totally help you on that journey and guide you. But the first thing to know is, where are your clients reading already? Do they like Mind Body Green? Do they like Elephant Journal? Are they reading blogs, or should you be vlogging instead of blogging, right? Like, you have to ask these questions. And are they podcast listeners, right? That's another good question. Like, maybe you don't need to be blogging at all. Maybe you just need to be guest podcasting. So really, really great to understand that. And just reminding you guys, if you email me, I'll send you out that PDF with the 25 ideal client questions. Okay, you can start that. All right. I just want to open it up for any questions at this point. So go for it, you guys. What you got? What else do you want to know? Or have you had any successes and you just want to share with the group another tip? Something else you do? No? You guys good? No extra questions? Does anyone want a 5-minute hot seat for their ideal client? Go ahead and put your hand up or tell me. No one? Oh my goodness.
I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you,
you're
thank you,
welcome.
thank you, thank you. This was absolutely marvelous, and I'll be signing up for your badassery. More of it.
Awesome.
And thank
All
you.
right, Jackie, I saw you. I saw your me in the chat. What do you want to tell me about your ideal client?
My ideal client can be a man or a woman, but generally a woman, middle-aged, between probably, the average, I want to say the average age is 55, and overweight, suffering from various medical conditions, cardiovascular disease, joint disease, peripheral neuropathy, neurological diseases that impair movement. And in having their movement impaired, their bodily movement impaired, they're generally not in the best of moods. They're not very happy. They would like to be, and their health prevents them from being so.
Okay, so in a complex chronic type of health case, you guys, for all of you who are dealing with somebody like that, you really do have to get simple and foundational and figure out where you're going to kind of introduce these themes in your blogs and what is going to really hit at the heart of the person who we're talking probably chronic complex pain and health issues. And we're not talking, the last year. This is probably...
It's ongoing.
Yes.
10 years minimum.
So there's foundational issues there, but there's also, like, I could ask all of you, well, what lights you up to write about? Out of all of the different things, is she just said, oh my goodness, there's a whole lot of topics there. So what lights you up? What is the thing you want to teach? What's the problem you already solved that you love solving for people?
Well, help is available to help people get healthier, to move more effectively, and to overcome at least some of their health issues.
Yeah, but that didn't answer my question.
What was the question?
I'm gonna play with you a little bit. So what's the problem you love solving out of that list?
I love helping them get better, feel better, or look better, or lose weight, or eat better, or
Out of all those things you just listed, what would be the one top one that you would want to hit on first? What do you think is foundational?
feel better.
How?
Mentally feel better, because if somebody
Okay, great. Perfect. You got to it. Mentally feel better. She got to it. And so this is so important for all of you guys, because this is definitely what we have in our clients is these complex lifetimes worth of stuff. And there's all of these different problems, but helping them feel better mentally. And when that came to you as the number one thing, okay. And we all know that that's where it starts anyhow. That is foundational. That is a wonderful place to start. Right. So the next thing would be, Jackie, who have you talked to in your world in terms of doing that interview with your current ideal clients? When you interview people, you're not guessing anymore, you guys. You're actually going to understand how they don't feel good mentally. They're going to give you specific words about how they feel.
right.
And then you're going to understand what these things are that you want to be talking about, because even feel good mentally is a broad, topic. Want to kind of pare it down.
It is a broad topic, and what I like to work on, part of what I work on is mental discipline, and that is going to apply to every person that I'm working with in my paid employment. This isn't through Superformance, although it could be.
I still
But
want you to get to one problems for your blogs. We're talking about blogs specifically tonight. So I would love for you to say to me, hey,
discipline.
if I could get them to do the weight loss thing, if we could achieve the weight loss, and
Yeah.
I was going to do a blog series on the mental aspect, the mindset needed for weight loss, and that could be a title, the weight loss mindset, what you need to succeed. Ooh, I even made it rhyme. Then that could be a 3-part series, a 5-part series. You guys could be also guest blogging on places like the Wellness Universe and getting these blog series out there. You could be writing some of these things for On Purpose Woman magazine. So I've got, there's some connections here where you can get these out to bigger audiences too. But that one is marketing to them what they want. They want to lose weight. Now, a lot of the times they just want what they want. How you're going to get them there is your magical how, which is going to be the mindset training.
Right, correct.
Yeah. And since you mentioned weight loss earlier, it's a part of feeling better all around. That's going to be one of the big ones for people usually.
Can I send you an article that I've got posted in a couple of places, because I want to redo it so that it's at least more exciting.
Well, you heard my offer tonight, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So either an existing one, you guys, is fine, or something new is fine too. And this, it does take me time, you guys, to do that. So it is a real, and it's a real and a generous offer, but I can't go out and read everybody's stuff just for, feedback. I can do that as a service for you. You can always hit me up for more help and more coaching and anything you need. But if you guys go along the steps of that course, you also know where to find me. So even though it's kind of do it at your own pace, you have my email and you can email me questions as you go and we can craft this thing. And I really want you guys to get out there and pitch these ideas to the bigger sites. You're going to have amazing results in terms of building your platform this way. And it can get really, really exciting. So all of you, thank you so much for coming tonight. I hope you took away at least a nugget, if not more than one nugget. And I can't wait to read. Please, if you have something that you're posting, get my attention. Tell me that you posted it on Facebook. Give me a quick email and tell me that you got brave and put something up, and I will be part of your blog team, right? I'll come and read it and comment and be your cheerleader for you. But because there's so much going on, if you don't tell me you did it, I probably will miss it, right? So please tell me. I'd love to do that for you guys. And for you guys watching the replay, thank you so much for watching. And please email bewarriorlove@gmail.com. If any of the things that I mentioned tonight, you're wanting me to send you by email, the ideal client worksheet. I gave you guys the 50 things to write about to build your healing business, right? I can give you that link. So you can certainly email me for any of that stuff. All right, everybody, I hope that you have a fabulous rest of your evening. I'm going to just stop the recording and